You're recording, aren't you?
I told you I am.
I hate you.
Well, you know what?
I hate you.
Well,
We're on episode 5, and I still, ladies and gentlemen,
excuse you? Episode 6.
Oh, I stand corrected. I apologize. I apologize in advance. No, we're on episode 6, and he still gives me no indication. He's over here. He hits record. He looks up, smiling in his little, ooh, I'm gonna get him ways. And we're live now.
Well, live is, not the proper term. We're just recording. If we were actually broadcasting this live, do you have any idea how much I would try and screw everything up?
I mean, facts. I know. Yeah, I would just be like, nope, abandon ship, dive away.
Later.
Deuces.
But yes, for those who are new here, I'm John.
And I'm James.
And this is Games with John and James, episode 6. We're going to jump into the next episode first, but I wanted to actually introduce a new segment.
So, John and I have been putting a lot of work into this. We do a lot of pre-planning. We do a lot of thinking, talking back and forth, putting stuff up, taking stuff off. Like, we're really, really vested in making this the best experience possible. And if you've noticed in some of our episodes, we kind of tailor it back to past ones. Like, oh, another perfect video game. Or, oh, look at this.
Yeah,
so
like, this podcast is a conversation that we're having. And so, you know how when you have a talk with somebody about any topic, no matter what, and then later you come up with something where you're like, ah, crap, that would prove like this, or this is a really good point to make. That's what I wanted to do for a brief amount of time here. So we're going to go back to episode 5 and what I'm calling the John and James replay. So we're just going to touch on a few things that we might have missed or really didn't put a bow on from the previous episode, and hopefully that can kind of clarify some points we wanted to make.
So we want to make sure we actually touch back a little bit and kind of give you a recap. It'll help with you new listeners, hopefully we get a bunch of you, to kind of understand, where our buildup is, where our past episodes are. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages, welcome to the first ever Games with John and James replay.
And it's not going to be a very long one because I just wanted to touch on a few points I came up with after our conversation because I edited the previous episode. The whole point that I wanted to make in terms of innovation and originality and game mechanics and stuff like that is that they happened in stages. Like in the beginning, it was mechanics driven because you just had to make something new. Whereas when things could evolve a bit more, it became more about narrative. But the biggest thing we overlooked, I think, was technology. Because not only did you get the actual capacity to store data, you also got it in different forms, between cartridges to discs to even higher capacity discs to now cloud gaming and stuff and online gaming. It was completely innovative and expanded out all throughout that kind of stuff. And it's the perfect merger of all of those things happening together, which makes innovation and originality become a bit more hard to define. But the other thing I wanted to touch on too was like how that kind of came together because games that already had mechanics. So you are a big RPG guy.
Absolutely.
And RPGs existed before, computers did. They were tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, and military strategy, war games, all sorts of stuff like that. What made that innovation into video games...
So what you're saying is the military itself is an RPG.
Support our troops. Anyway, no, but so, and what's funny is I want to toot my own horn here a little bit. This will only sound like a humble brag, I'm sure, but like I know a lot about video game history. And so when I thought about that, I didn't touch on it at all, but like those games and games mechanics already existed. What they did when computers came out was basically just said, hey, we have to do all this math and running stats and numbers and stuff. Just make the computer do it. And that enabled role-playing games to really take on their own form.
I think that was a big area we missed because we dove into the consoles. We talked about Atari. We talked about regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But we kind of omitted PCs. So, as you know, late 70s, home console gaming is all but gone because of just not well received. And the workaround for that with companies was computers. Computer-based gaming, late 70s, early 80s, took off. It was on a whole nother level. You talk about action RPGs on the computer. You had Ys 1 and 2. You had Ultima. You had Wizardry. You had Might and Magic. You name it. And it kind of took on its own entity. And it was super cool and innovative because it still gave you that gaming outlet. Mm-hmm. And it ties deeply into originality because it did take upon what John mentioned with tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons, other versions of it. It added it into it, made it easier. And then in doing that, it also kind of gave you that visual layout, which was at the time, if you didn't have all of the accessories and everything, your visual layout was, hey, use your imagination. I hope it's good.
I don't have any figurines or graph paper, so screw it.
So it really helped out. It put into vision what you wanted to do on the tabletop. And then obviously after that, we came back to consoles. The regular Nintendo came out. And fun fact, the chip inside the regular Nintendo was actually something from the 70s. Mm-hmm. It's mind-boggling. And John also mentioned, looking at technology, looking at how games have expanded into cloud, into your phone, everywhere. When you think about it, you look back at those original games, we could literally put the entire regular Nintendo library, as of what it ended at, onto a Blu-ray disc today, and we could still add the Super Nintendo library to it. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, the limits of technology, which enabled a lot of the creation to do it. And what's funny is I'm reminded of one last thing I'll talk about. It was an Ars Technica War Stories video, and I think I talked about it in the past. But Andy Gavin was the programmer at Naughty Dog who did the original Crash Bandicoots. And he talked about how when you had this new technology and you had to basically make it work, and how you made it work versus high resolution textures and low resolution, or like polygons, and how many things you needed. And the thing that he mentioned the most was like, yes, trying to figure this stuff out was very technical, but the thing that has always pushed innovation has been video games and the entertainment industry. So when you see like when Crash Bandicoot comes out and nothing else looks like it at all, it's like, yeah, we had to hack the system. We had to take the technology of the time and basically hack it and rewire it and rework it into something so original and different that you've never seen anything like that before, which of course it was. So that's the kind of stuff that this is why I love talking about this, is because yes, it's this perfect merger of art and science and technology, and video games are just cool, I guess. Like, we're original or not, they're just fucking great.
I think that's a wonderful point to end on. Like, honestly, like, we could keep going. We could keep this segment going for days and days. Honestly, like, games are fun. We appreciate what originality is today when it comes to graphics, textures, things like that. Like, originality has evolved, and we're just along for the ride. I could play video games until my deathbed, and I'm having a good time. I love me a video game. So with that, ladies and gentlemen,
let's talk about some new games.
Dun, 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 dun. New game segment with John and James.
All right. Well, stick around, folks. We're going to take a quick break here, but we're going to jump into a nice top 10 list. We're going to recommend a few choice games from both of us, so stick around.
Welcome back. So, guys, that was, our first ever kind of replay. So
yeah, it's just one of those things I wanted to chime in real quick, because I'm sure as we work on these together, we're going to have more things to say.
You could just sit me down, and boy howdy, are you going to get all the things to say. Come over here and sit on Daddy James's lap and let me tell you a story.
I will not do that. I will not do that. So, we mentioned it just before the break, but so we wanted to, we talk about a lot of the similar games. Over the past couple episodes, we've brought up Chrono Trigger so many times and Half-Life so many times and all that kind of stuff. So that makes us sound like we're just doing retro only, you know what I mean? We wanted to take some time to throw out some recommendations of games that came out this year, or at least the last 2 years, because talking about 20-year-old games for 5 episodes straight is, come on.
Damn boomers.
Yeah, like I said, the most boomer episode was the one where we talked about couch co-op.
So we actually talked about it a few days ago, and like we were like, hey, you know, this is cool. We love talking about retro games. Like John could tell you, I literally talk about it till I am blue in the face. It's, look what game I got today. Look at this. Look at this. And he's just like, shut up already. And you hear him laughing because it's true.
Yeah, it's...
So
I don't have anything funny to say. I'm just like, yeah, you have a problem. And I think we kind of enable each other a bit.
Yeah, he's trying to break his addiction. I'm like, here, go back in. Here, go back in.
Hey, Scott Pilgrim just got re-released. I'm like, ah.
So I'm actually going to steal his thunder on this one. And so our topic for episode 6 is games that have come out recently that we think you should play today. And my first pick, it's actually been around for a little bit. It just recently got a physical release last year, Wizard of Legend.
Wizard of Legend is a great game. Great game.
It's basically a roguelite. At the same time, it's an adventure kind of beat 'em up game, but with magic. And what's really cool about Wizard of Legend is, kind of bringing this back home for us, is it's couch co-op in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so much fun. It's old school Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, pixelated graphics. It's just so much fun. I mean, I love playing with lightning magic in the game, and there's nothing more satisfying than throwing a lightning orb of death, just shocking all of the enemies, and the sound effects feel like they came off of a Sega Genesis, because when the enemies get hit, they're like, ugh!
That game is great. When you wombo combo people, it feels great. Like I discovered that game. Shout out to Vinny Vinesauce himself. He played it a couple years ago, and I immediately fell in love, not only with like the pixel art style of it, but just the way that the mechanics actually worked. The way that you found cursed items, the way that you got new cards, the way that you had to fight the bosses, and depending on the order, the magic you had could actually be better or worse for how you fight them. And it all builds up to a big final battle where you get dark magic and shit. Like, when I beat that for the first time, I felt like a truly triumphant. Really, because like you have to have that perfect run of like the items that you want, the perks you want to get, but also like weighing the benefits and negatives of the cursed items you get.
This game. It's hard. It's not so hard that it's unbeatable or in the realm of Dark Souls or like Bloodborne, but it is definitely a challenge, especially if you're doing it one player. Mm-hmm. Like it is not so hard. Mm-hmm. And
what's cool though is that you feel like you can actually get good at it though.
Exactly. You progressively see yourself getting better and better at the game. And honestly, it's not that expensive. You can get it physical on the PlayStation 4 or the Nintendo Switch. If you're not a fan of physical gaming, grab it digitally. It's very PC, inexpensive.
Play it on Switch, play it on anything, man. It's great.
Oh yeah, I forgot PC. Shout out to PC.
It's also free on Xbox Game Pass. So hey, Microsoft, if you want to sponsor.
I hate you. That is my catchphrase for you specifically.
I'm going to buy him a shirt that says, I hate you.
Official merchandise. I hate you. Games with John and James.
Yep. But yeah, Wizard of Legend, definitely a good one. And definitely one I'd recommend too.
Yeah, it's nothing but fun. It has endless replayability because when you beat it the normal way, you also have another option where instead of navigating through levels, because it's level, boss, level, boss, level, boss, final boss. And which is cool because that gives you time to upgrade your character, get new spells, swap in, swap out. But the big thing with the game is like...
We're good. I elbowed the table. Sorry.
John tooted.
No, I didn't. Do not. That's libel.
But honestly, like the coolest part of the game from the replayability is they basically give you a boss speedrun challenge where you'll fight the mini boss and immediately go into the boss. And every boss you fight in that challenge has extra moves as well. Just like if you want to enjoy like hardcore difficulty, they give it to you. If you want to enjoy regular wise, they give it to you. 10 out of 10. I recommend it. It's fun for the family. It's fun by yourself. It's just a good time.
I just like the idea of advertising it as fun for the family. It's just like, kill evil wizards and win the Ultimate Wizard Tournament. It's just like, you hear that, little Timmy? We're going to kill the evil wizard.
Hey, Dad, I'm going to zap you today.
Nah, don't zap me, son.
Oh, no. So...
What was it? Oh, God. For whatever reason, you just reminded me, when the first Guilty Gear came out, the print ad in gaming magazines was straight up, kill your friends guilt-free. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, that's a dark twist on an ad right there.
That's fucking hardcore, Atlas. Holy shit.
John, I don't like you. I'm gonna kill you guilt-free.
No.
You mean in a video game? No. In real life.
And this is the final episode. All right. But so yeah, Wizard of Legend, definitely recommend. Definitely a good first pick. Just didn't line a Coke, so okay.
John was just like, Sonic!
Wizard of Legend! Yeah, get on the cards! Anyway.
Gotta go fast with Sonic! Sonic Wizard of Legend, folks!
Check out Sonic's tits! Anyway. Whoa, put that away, Knuckles. Don't make this an NC-17 game. Anyway.
Actually, that would kind of be... Think about it. Sonic, Magic combined, and it's... Instead of him going fast or like his normal mechanics, you just see Sonic like jumping through the air, throwing a fireball, calling lightning down, holy magic, Final Fantasy Hedgehog.
Dude, Kingdom Emerald Hearts. There you go. Get Sora in there.
If any developers are listening, please run with our idea. Run with it. Make this a thing.
Tetsuya
Sonic
Nomura,
can't get...
Look, we know you listen to our podcast. You're the one listener in Japan. You're like, what do these boys have to say about Final Fantasy?
Sonic can't get any worse, folks.
See, I know that you're trying to get a rise out of me. But I say we move on to the actual point of our show today. A current game that I would recommend. The current game that I would like to recommend. I've been playing a crap ton of Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 6.
I love this franchise. I came in, I played the first one on PC when my PC could barely run it, and I was just blown away by the open world nature of it and all the cool guns and stuff like that and the weird aliens and shit. Then 2 came out, and I was like, what? And so when they changed the direction to kind of pivot more to like the relationship between the main character and the villain, that's when that game hooked me. 3 cemented it with Voss as you try to explore the island and, the Tau magic and all sorts of crazy stuff like that, and seeing Jason's transformation from this preppy SoCal white boy to jungle master hunter crazy person. Like that stuff moves me. I love that shit.
So he recently purchased Far Cry 6, and he knows, obviously, I don't have experience with the franchise, and he's like, I need to show you this. This has just been like my favorite moment in the game so far. And I was like, yeah.
I know what you're going to talk about.
I was like, yeah, sure. What's that? And it's the main character going to a bar and the most ridiculous banter is happening in this bar.
Please, it's a cantina.
And somebody comes to kill this old weird dude, and he just beats the crap out of him and feeds him to a pet crocodile, right?
Yep, Guapo.
Feeds him to Guapo the pet crocodile. And it was so over the top. And he's leaving. He's like, I can't even have this anymore.
Guapo is in love with you, and I ruined the only copy of my book.
It was...
Vamos.
Like, it was good. I was belly laughing. Like, you don't get moments like that in gaming so much anymore. You have, people try to connect with you. They try to resonate with you in games for sure. But it's very rare, I feel, to have that genuine connection. Because I've never played the franchise. That's probably a decent chunk into the game.
It's actually one of the first missions, man.
Oh, wow, never mind. So it's the first mission. I stand corrected. But it vibed with me. And I was laughing. And honestly, I actually am going to pick up Far Cry 6 because of that.
Yo, I wholly recommend it. I talked about the franchise more than I actually talked about the game when I introduced it. But seriously, I've had the most fun playing this one. Like, I have my favorites, like when 5 came out and I saw the trailer for it. Dang it, I'm talking about the franchise again. I'll talk about...
It's that good.
I'll talk about 6 real quick. So 6, you are basically in fake Cuba trying to liberate the island because evil dictator, blah, 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 right? It's fucking fun. It's just proven gameplay that's fun, and all the stuff you can unlock just by natively finding stuff in the game. The animal companions you get, like Guapo. There's also a death metal, black metal rooster named Chicharron, and he's fun. But yeah, like this game is great, and like the characters I'm actually enjoying because you actually feel connected to the conflict because you're in it. Like the whole thing sets up like we need to escape the island. We need to get away from the island because evil dictator, so let's flee to America, live the Yankee dream, stuff like that. But then when they're attacked by, the villain setting up the stakes for the game, that's when you're, put back on the island and you have to join the guerrillas, the revolutionaries, and have to liberate the island. And every time I've hit a story point, I've just loved it every time. And the fact that they went away, because the previous Far Cry games, you were a character, but you were always in the first person. In this one, they shifted away to actually be a character, Danny himself or herself, depending on who you play. That stuff has human character connection to it.
So you're saying the story reels you in there, boy.
You can actually fish in the game. Which the one thing I will say about it, so in the previous games, hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff and getting stuff from the lay of the land made more sense. Whereas in this one, it's like, oh, you can just find it in chests or you can buy it, like guns and stuff.
Do you think somewhere out there, people are like, I have learned hunting and fishing in video games. I can do this in real life, and they just fail horribly.
They try and like punch a bear in the dick, and they're like, no, why? Oh, it's
new sign is created. Don't punch bear in dick.
Yeah, don't punch bear dicks. Those are rare. But yeah, Far Cry 6, I'm loving it. I'm on like the third part of the game now, like the third island you have to liberate. I'm into it whole way.
You think people who primarily speak Spanish are going to listen to you and be like, what the hell is this white boy saying?
Puta madre.
So, for my next pick, it came out earlier.
Next topic.
Get out of here.
Fist slam on the table.
Moving on. John cannot speak Spanish.
Look, before we learn how racist John actually is, let's talk about another video game.
Oof. Well, he's taking his anger against the Russian potato, and he's moving on.
South of the border flavor. Stop. Okay, stop.
John's Southwestern Grill.
Oh, God. You want the Tex-Mex? That's real American food.
Oh, no.
Everybody wants to go to Chili's.
Oh, man. So, honestly, like, Far Cry 6 is definitely an awesome one that came out recently. My next pick actually originally came out on this. So it was originally on Steam for a while. It was on PC for a while, and came out physically this year, starting with the Switch. Was Hades?
Hades, yeah. You've talked a lot about this game.
When Hades came out, I saw a couple reviews. I saw a couple videos. I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. I enjoy roguelite style games. No shame, the roguelite Slay the Spire, the card-based one, I have logged like 200 hours on that. No shame, and that is not exactly a good game. It's an okay game.
Ouch.
It's an okay game. It is not a good game, but for some reason it has hooked me hard.
Wow.
Hades took me away from that, and amazing storytelling. It's easy to have good storytelling when it's founded in Greek mythology and story.
Yeah.
The voice acting, amazing. They did such a good job. And John over here is getting ready to say the opposite. So
I was just going to say, I think it's funny that you have an entire pantheon of Greek gods. And
they're all British.
Yeah, and especially the frickin' skeleton who sounds like a New Yorker. I'm just kind of like, huh.
Oh man.
Like I don't mind it. It's just like because you got me to play that game, and it's a lot of fun. It's Supergiant's like fifth game, I think.
So it's their fifth game, and they're taking their concept, making it better until you have Hades. And so it's a top-down isometric roguelite beat 'em up.
Wizard of Legend clone.
I hate you.
I think it's funny that the two games that you've recommended so far are pretty much not the exact same game, but very similar in style.
So with Hades, it's infinite replayability because when you finally you have to progress and level up in the game, otherwise you can't beat the bosses. It's designed for you to come back, get better, and you actually feel your character getting stronger because you notice that progression you're making, and you're growing and you're growing and you're growing. And finally, when you beat the game, it's like, oh my God, I've arrived. Wait, what? This isn't the end? And you actually have to go back. Tim the Toolman Hades.
Oh my God.
With Cerberus.
Zagreus' brother, Tim.
Oh no. And it's just a younger version of Tim Allen, and you're like, what?
He's just like patting Cerberus.
So it's just so much fun. There's multiple weapons to choose from, and you honestly get to tailor the build however you want.
Tailor the build.
Exactly.
Like Tim the Toolman Taylor.
No.
All right, I'll stop derailing this.
Oh man, I see what you did there. But you get to design, like, every time you play, you get to design what you want your character's buffs, what you want, extra attack power, special abilities. You get to design
weapons too.
And exactly, yeah, weapons. Like picking, you get to, there's 4 initial ones you get to choose from, and then you can unlock more as you're playing. And then each of the weapons has a super weapon. Like, you're playing a Greek mythology-based game, and they have a gun. That's ridiculous and awesome.
Awesome.
And the super weapon of the gun is a laser that does stacking continuous damage.
I just like the idea of... I like the idea of Zagreus seeing his dad, just like, what's that? Exactly what you think it is, bitch.
Lasered.
It just shoots his dad. Who did this?
So, and then the story is amazing. Even when you finally get the true ending, which... Are we doing spoilers?
Spoiler alert, we'll make an annotation in the actual episode notes.
Maybe spoilers. I will give you a soft spoiler. The true ending is a perfect buildup of the story, because along the way, you have to build your relationships with the gods, the creatures inside Hades' palace, and it's just so much lore. And it's really hard to get story that good. And let's be real, an isometric beat 'em up.
Well, what's interesting is, like, the one thing I'll kind of knock it for is I like the game and how it plays and all that kind of stuff, but in order to be engaged with the story, you have to pursue it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, usually it's
Isn't that the point of gaming, to pursue it yourself? Oh, got him. I countered his point. Midpoint.
No, what I'll say is, like, think about side quests, right? Side quests are in a game to, you know, not distract you, but to have something that peppers the world with, like, you know, lore and other stuff, right?
The Witcher 3, side quests, the game.
Every open world game is side quests. No, but like for Hades and stuff, like, you know, there will be conversations or certain things that happen in the story that just happen. Other times you actually have to pursue, like, you know, go talk to this person or go see this person or happen to find them on your runs that you play. So I'm just kind of like, like, because and you're actually in the game itself and trying to kill monsters, that's when you can find that stuff naturally. But when you're in, like, you know, the chamber, when you're in Hades again, basically, you're just kind of like, I don't want to talk to Dusa right now. I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't want to give you nectar right now. Okay, bye. I just want to play again.
I like the fact that Medusa in the game is just the floating head.
Yeah, she's the maid and she's adorable.
And she just is like, bye! And just hops up into the rafters.
She's adorable. She's like my favorite character in that game.
And Cerberus is basically Clifford the big red dog with 3 heads.
Hell yeah. That's why you give him the nectar. He's a good boy.
So
and you get to see Zagreus in a spiked collar and it's hot.
Oh.
Yeah, Hades, good game. Yeah.
And it did so well here recently within the past few months. Actually, it also came out for PS5 and PS4 as well. So whatever console you have, definitely check it out. It's one that will give you a lot of replayability, tons of hours sunk into the game, great story. I mean, and who doesn't want to be a god just like beating the crap out of another god?
Who doesn't want to be a hot god beating up another hot god?
Wow.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
I just did. Also, it's on Xbox Game Pass as well, so next game.
Microsoft fanboy.
Yeah, the logo is a PlayStation controller for you.
I mean, I say this as I'm literally wearing a PlayStation shirt, folks, so can't say it too seriously.
Whereas I just take off my shirt and it's a giant, like, tableau of Xbox and Microsoft on the back.
Oh. So you braided your chest hair into Xbox?
Oh my god, if I could shave the X into there. Okay, stop. This is too good of an idea. We can't put this live. I want to move on to the next game because I don't want this game to get lost in the shuffle. So, this game came out recently, and I think it's breaking the rules a little bit because it's a re-release of an old Wii U game. But it came packaged with a new expansion to that game. I'm talking about Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
That was an awesome game.
Yes, it definitely was, and it still is, because 3D World came out for the Wii U, and I'll tell you, I had it when it was there, but there was just so much of it that didn't feel like complete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on its initial release, it was a lot of fun to play, but you also kind of got the feeling that Nintendo was starting to give up on the Wii U, and you could feel it in its first party titles. Luckily, the reason why they were giving up on it is we got the Switch, and it may not be a graphical workhorse, it may not be keeping up in like processing power with the other ones, but it's honestly the most genius thing Nintendo's done in a long, long time.
Yeah, I agree. And just jumping back into the whole concept of the game, like the whole point of the Wii U version was to have it be multiplayer, which was a huge thing that they pushed even with like New Super Mario Brothers and all sorts of other Nintendo games. But for me, like I mostly played it solo because I just didn't have anybody else to play it with, right? But there were just a few tweaks they could have made to make the single player experience all the more better, and they fixed that. Like, you just move faster in that game, and that immediately picks everything up and makes everything flow so much better. And not only that, you get Bowser's Fury, which is basically like a look into what could potentially be the next step in Mario games. Like, when you play... Because the biggest thing that I don't like when it comes to my video games is that feeling of, like, arbitrary stages. You know what I mean? Because, like, levels in video games, right?
So... I definitely agree with you there. It's one of the few Mario games where it actually feels like every level is there with a purpose, kind of like Mario Odyssey, right?
Yeah, and Mario Odyssey was basically another way to kind of prototype that. And the thing that I didn't like about the initial release, again, of the first one for the Wii U, was that it popped out to the world map, auto-saved, said it was saving, then it saved the data, then you have to walk to go to the next level. One of my favorite games of all time is Sonic 3 and Knuckles because the entire world feels connected. You know what I'm saying? Like you beat the water level and then like a water spigot launches you into the air and you go into the next level. That's cool. So when you have Bowser's Fury that comes out and you just have this giant open playground that just expands before you with new missions and stuff, that's all I wanted. And it gave it to me.
So I have to ask, and this is a question I'm sure might get brought up by other people.
All right.
Do you have a Mario catsuit now?
I didn't want this to be the way you found out. No, I do not have a catsuit. But
he's actually in it right now. Don't let him fool you.
Excuse me, meow? Anyway, no.
Meow meow.
What's funny is we have video of me not in the catsuit, so people will be like, you lied to me.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby, get in your catsuit.
Butane is a bastard gas. Now play Mario 3D World.
I'm going to be over here grooming myself. Okay, stop. No, okay. But yeah, that game came out in February of this year, and like, it's funny because as we were coming up with this list, like, I realized, like, oh crap, a lot of great games actually came out this year. So that's definitely one I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle, because not only do you get the solid Mario 3D World game itself, which is like a huge combo meal of everything that kicks ass about Mario games, you also get Bowser's Fury with the big, scary, like, ink blot, like, evil Bowser that's terrifying and freaking awesome. I loved it. I just loved it. It was great, and I'm glad I have it.
So that's definitely an awesome one. And if you don't have it, it's still readily available at any of the major retailers. Grab it.
Yeah, pick that shit up.
So I'm going to touch base on, honestly, one of my personal favorite franchises. It actually just released a new game.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Part 2.
I hate you. No. Also one of my favorite franchises, but that did not make the cut.
Good.
Now hiring additional host. Games with Blank and James. Make sure your name begins with a J, folks.
Games with fuck. Jerry.
Jeremiah.
I was going to say like a name that does not have a J in it. So it's like Drandon. Jimothy.
Just, oh, man. There's probably a Jimothy out there that's going to listen to this and is like, fuck that guy.
He'll pick his iPhone out, he'll rip his AirPods out, and just throw it out the window.
Just yeets his phone.
Why am I listening? It's like Silver Linings Playbook. What the fuck?
So, so it's been a favorite franchise of mine for one of my favorites for a long time. It initially came out on the PlayStation 2. It's been on the PlayStation 3. It's been on the PS4, PSP, and even the DS
franchise.
Even the DS, actually.
Okay.
The Disgaea series.
I was going to say saving throw, and it was on the DS.
So Disgaea came out with Disgaea 6 this year. The big shock was that it came out on the Nintendo Switch only versus on a Sony console. In Japan, you can play it on Sony, but here in America, this is the first time it's been like just a Nintendo only. So that was kind of the big controversy.
I'm sure if it hasn't already, I'm sure it'll be released on like PS5.
I hope so, but
because like they did that even with like Metal Gear Rising. Because like in Japan, you could only get it on PlayStation, whereas in America, it's like you get a 360 and a PS3 version.
So I'm hoping so, but it's been a lot of fun. This is actually the first game in the series that took Disgaea and all of the silliness, the zaniness, the combos, the magic, took it 3D. And it's kind of polarizing because for such a long time, you've had the 2D. You've had what we traditionally know with the fire magic, the ice magic, the wind magic. And now your characters are 3D, the attacks are 3D. So it's definitely aesthetically a different viewpoint, but it's still a Disgaea game. Infinite replay. It's one of those games you don't ever have to stop playing if you don't want to. You can be, I'm done at level 500, or you know what? I'm going to hit level 9,999.
What is the point? Like, what's the point of going that high in numbers? Like, at some point, it just becomes arbitrary.
So
like,
you would think that.
See, I know, because you told me about this, and like that's the fun kind of gimmick about it, is that you can just infinitely scale up. So,
but that infinite scale up comes with a purpose, because every Disgaea game gives you a super boss, and so it's always like ball or super ball or hard ball, and
skip it or bop it.
Bop it to the east.
Put on your moon
bop
shoes.
It to the. I hate you. But you have to be, for the most part, you have to be max level in order to fight these super bosses. In Disgaea 5, after you beat the game, you basically unlock the hell version, like the harder version of all the worlds and everything. And baseline levels in all of those worlds are in the hundreds into the thousands. Whereas with your normal Disgaea, unless you're increasing the monster difficulty, you might get up to like the level 100s. Mm. So it's super cool because you can make the game infinitely more hard with the Dark Senate. You can pass votes to make the monsters harder, which all of the senators are like, yeah, we want you to die. We'll vote yes.
I remember seeing it from like the first games. That was always so funny because I'm just like, you can deliberate? Are you kidding me?
It was ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it's funny that the game is dedicated to actually having to be played in so many different ways. So
it's one of the few games where min-maxing is fun because you also have the item world, which I barely touched on. And in the item world, if any of your weapons, you can make them stronger and stronger, or armors, or even just like regular items. And it's so cool because you get to literally customize to a T how you want to play the character. So the item world in Disgaea 6, infinite exploration, maximize your weapons, make them how you want. Disgaea 6, I can't praise it enough. It's readily available on Switch. Check it out. The story's typical Disgaea. It's funny, kind of over the top. It's a Nippon Ichi game. Have fun with it. Pick it up.
While you're there, play the two Prinny video games, because those are fun.
Oh, yeah. Those actually came out here recently, too. Definitely get those.
Mm-hmm. You're a penguin with a knife. That's awesome. Anyway. So this guy, definitely a good pick as well. God, I'm looking at my list. We have so many. I think just for the sake of diversity in my own picks and looking at the list of stuff I have an open world first-person shooter, a Mario game, which is pretty much a genre to itself, and for my next one, I'm going to take Streets of Rage 4. So Streets of Rage 4, classic beat 'em up action, brought back to a new age, and it's so polished and so tight and so wonderful and well put together and well made and well looked. I can't sing praises enough. Like Lizard Cube and Guard Crush Games and all these dudes came together, and ladies too. I want to say just dudes. All these people came together to make a dope beat 'em up action game, which is a genre that has gone away, and it makes me sad.
So one of the cool things about this game is every now and then on weekends, aside from the podcast, we'll get together, we'll game and have a good time. And John actually got me to play that one. Was what, like 3 or 4 months ago, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
And just had a good time. Played through it, like beat it. I can't speak enough praise of that as well. Like it's a lot of fun. I love your 2D kind of side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I love them. Remember the Turtles in Time?
Yep.
Like all of the Super Nintendo Turtles games, just so much fun, and
just every old school beat 'em up, the final fights in the original Streets of Rage games, the stuff that was made by like Hamster, like Rival Turf and shit like that. You kidding me?
Get off my turf!
Yeah, Jack Flack and Uzi Nelson back in action.
So, I mean, we could honestly spend tons of praise on that game. It's a lot of fun. And to keep it relevant, new content just came out for it.
For real. The DLC came out, which includes a survival mode where you can have conditions set where it's like, if your health is below 20%, you deal double damage and stuff like that. That's all great. But just the game itself, standalone, is so good. The thing that I love the most about that game is its mechanics reward you for aggressive play and not defensive play. The special moves that cost you like some health, right? Your health goes into the green, but if you stay alive and don't get hit, you can earn that health back. And if you can keep your combos above like 100 or so hits, and all the special moves you can do, and the fact that you can do command inputs like the original Streets of Rage games, and each character has their own like checks and balances and strengths and weaknesses and stuff. It's just a damn fun game. And the survival mode adds more stuff. That's awesome. Like, I want to go home and just play it.
Well, we know what John's doing this afternoon, folks.
Yep. Pizza and that.
So, honestly, I don't think there's anything more we can say about it. It is, hey, a perfect video game.
A perfect flippin' video game. Also, you can play as the original pixel art versions of the Streets of Rage characters.
Oh, yeah.
And it's freaking hilarious to see all these beautifully hand-drawn, like, 2D characters. And you just go, like, with, like, one frame of animation just throwing out a punch. With its bit-crushed freaking voice lines.
So...
Oh, skate supremacy, baby.
Oh, man. Pick that up. Like, that is a lot of fun. It will scratch the nostalgia itch. It will scratch the beat-em-up itch, because beat-em-ups nowadays have kind of taken a different route. Mm-hmm. It's more 3D Dynasty Warriors-ish. It's more...
Oh, if they made a Spike-Out comeback, oh my god, that'd be awesome.
He's grabbing his head, ladies and gentlemen. His mind just exploded.
Yeah, my mind... I would, if somebody said, like, Spike-Out, like, 4, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
He's spiking out with his mic out.
Oh, god. Bring back the pink pants. Anyway, only like one person is going to know what I'm talking about. But I don't care.
Shout out to one person.
Shout out that one person who played Spike Out Battle Street like I did. Jesus.
So,
what's funny is that, okay, just one quick aside in that game, it's very classic Sega, and it's very arcadey, and it's wonderful. It's hard as hell, but like, that's another game I could defend because it's bad. But the voice acting, Christopher Sabat, who's the voice of, Piccolo and Vegeta and Dragon Ball Z currently, big prolific voice actor, voice director, runs, all these studios who do anime and video games. There's just a voice line in the game where the text comes up on screen. So it's like, here comes the boss. And it's just him saying that in some like tough guy macho way. And I'm just like, that is the best voice line in any video game ever.
Oh,
I'll play it for you later.
Yeah, we'll have to take a peek at it.
But yeah, Streets of Rage 4, pick that shit up. That game is dope.
So my next one, I'm not going to spend too much talking on because it originally came out on the PlayStation 4 a little while back. Recently came out on the Nintendo Switch, Dragon Star Varnir.
I'm going to be completely in the dark on this one, guys.
He's looking at me like, deer in headlights. What do I do? Oh, wait, this is a...
Dragon Star. Those are on the Dragon Ball. It's a Dragon Ball game.
Dragon Ball, let's all go. Wait, that's not how the song goes.
No, it's Rock the Dragon. Come get me. And this has the guitar solo.
So, Dragon Star Varnir, it's a traditional turn-based JRPG.
Yawn. Sorry.
With a twist. So, in that game, the dragons, which are terrorizing the nation, are actually also witches who you end up partnering because your main character becomes one in essence. And witches are
It's bitten
stuck.
by a radioactive witch and becomes a dragon.
I'm Dragon Man.
Oh my god. Batman would be so much more cool if he was actually a bat.
Hey, he was at one point.
He was. He was also, crippled because of Bane, but we don't talk about the 90s comics.
Oh, no. But in Dragonstar Varnir, like, the big premise is, as a witch, you have to eat dragon meat to keep the spirit inside you from going crazy. But the more you eat, the more your character is going to increase it, like, shorten the character's lifespan, become a dragon. Or you can be like, your character's like, I'm not eating any dragon because I don't want to. And because they don't, the dragon just pops out and they go insane. It's kind of a dark premise when you think about it. Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah,
it's basically a metaphor for the capitalist healthcare system.
Why? Why? Oh my god!
I wonder how many viewers are going to get because of that, or lose because of that. Because I want to see the metrics. That'd be great.
Oh no! But it switches up your turn-based combat because when you're fighting, you can eat the monster, which has been done before. But in eating it, you unlock, you acquire that monster, and you can unlock all the skills on it to increase your stats and get other moves. And combat is in 3 tiers in the air, so you have high aerial, mid aerial, low aerial combat. So you can adjust accordingly to attack from different sides and or stay out of reach of different moves.
So it's like a 4D JRPG.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's also one where you have to make the choice of who lives and dies, which is always fun if done right.
Speaking of another super giant game, it's like Pyre. It's like, none of you go to heaven, you all stay with me.
You all die now.
And now to make sure that the dog stays with me and doesn't go to heaven.
All dogs don't go to heaven.
This one doesn't. Anyway.
Oh, man. Dom DeLuise comes back for All Dogs Don't Go to Heaven 4.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Burt Reynolds, I'm sorry.
Oh, man. But
Cannonball Dog.
Too soon.
Not even making jokes anymore. Just go.
He's just dark.
Yep.
But check it out. It still gives you turn-based, but at the same time provides a different experience. It's not as deep as some games are, and it's actually a shorter one. You can beat this one a lot faster than you would, say, like a Dragon Quest XI or a really long Final Fantasy. So it just came out on the Switch. It's also out on the PS4. Take a look. Pick it up. It's not expensive. It's definitely a good RPG to sink your teeth in.
Word. Sounds good. Like, it's one of those things where I'll be completely in the dark because of just the nature of the game itself. But, like, it's just, it blows my mind just how many of these games come out and how they're all different.
He's over here thinking I'm like some hardcore weeb, but in reality, his window of gaming is so limited.
I want to just talk about the list we've made so far and the amount of diversity in my games I've picked versus yours, okay?
Hey, strategy, roguelite, and beat 'em up.
And a second roguelite.
And RPG.
And also, there's 2 roguelites in there. Shut up. Don't make me look like an idiot.
Don't make the points.
Don't be correct. Okay, so next on my list of recommendations, this game came out in the summer, and I remember going home and visiting family, and I brought my PlayStation 5 on the plane ride home, and I texted my buddy, he's like, dude, you're freaking brave to bring that with you.
How was traveling with that monster?
Because I kept it in my carry-on so no one could touch it, so I'm just like, this is with me.
Just getting a workout walking through the airport,
man. Yeah, just hauling my 50-pound console.
Your spaceship.
Yeah, my freaking, and then I made sure to be like, it was with me at all times. Like, there's no way.
What you just missed out on was John literally did the hugging, my precious, my precious.
Yes, this is master. Anyway, that's my Smeagol impression, everybody. Tips are appreciated. Anyway, around the summertime, went to visit home, brought the PlayStation 5 with me, and sure enough, the game that we picked up, Guilty Gear Strive. Guilty Gear is fucking dope. I love that franchise. I love fighting games, and that's the biggest, crunchiest, coolest, but also the easiest to get into fighting game I've played in a long time, and I fucking love it.
You can never go wrong with a Guilty Gear game. They're few and far in between, but every time one of them is made, they kind of take center stage. Mm-hmm. Because, so, recent fighters, we've had a Tekken, we've had Street Fighter, we've had a Soul Calibur. They're fun. Like I know you love fighting games, and I know
I adore fighting games. Yes,
like, I've played them with him briefly, and he just whoops my ass. It's bad. It's basically the Dave Chappelle skit where he's monstering the terminally ill child. Just because the terminally ill child got 1 point.
He's getting his ass kicked to street hoops.
That is what he's doing to me in a fighting game.
And I feel bad because I've done that to other people before. Like, I've played Street Fighter 4 back in the day online with people. And, like, I know that they don't play fighting games. I just mob them, and then they get dizzy. I taunt them, and then just shoryuken them and kill them. And I'm just like, I'm an asshole.
I'm glad you self-identify.
Well, like, because the fights, when you get really good in fighting games, they just get intense. Like, you know, you got to poke, you got to zone, you got to know how to work your cancels and your combos in and all sorts of different moves. And the thing that I love the most about Guilty Gear is when I said crunchy, it really feels like that. You do so much damage in that game that all of the skills and all the things that you actually do are all viable and not just the fucking dolphin missile. But what I'm saying is that, like, this game's great, and the aesthetic is great, the music's great, all the characters are fucking smoking hot buff dudes, so you know you can't go wrong there.
Oh, my name is John, and if you design an anime buff dude, I am very aroused in my genitals.
See, look, if you make a typical big titty anime girl, yawn. You make a hot buff dude with like a nice smile, you got me.
Well, he just revealed what his porn collection is, folks.
No. Yeah.
He took way too long on that.
I was going to say, yeah. But, I mean, I talk about it with my girlfriend because, yes, I have one. Proving a point. But I talk about it with her, and she says, like, all the dudes in this game were smoking hot. I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally agree.
Oh, stop.
It's like when Chip takes his mask down and just, like, he just gets you with that smile and this, like, evil face he's making. It's like, what are you going to do to me?
What you're not seeing right now is John is literally doing the South Park cable episode. He has opened up flaps and he is doing the, oh, yeah.
We can cut this maybe. But no.
No, this stays.
Fine. Look, there is no such thing as toxic masculinity here on the James and John podcast. I got so horny I confused the name.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. The thing is that my coworkers listen to this.
Yeah, well, they're seeing a whole new side.
God, no. Please, no. I don't want to... this is what made me scared about sharing this podcast to people. It's like, they're going to know how I really talk. I don't want them to know.
Don't show me. Don't show me.
Don't look at me. It's like the pay no attention to the men behind the curtain.
Oh, man. But
anyway.
Yeah, so Guilty Gears, like John said,
I've been a fan since... Sorry, I've been a fan of it for a long time. Still love it.
If you have the opportunity, pick it up. It is well worth it. It's honestly, I would say, the best fighter out right now for how polished it is. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot, comparatively speaking, to Street Fighter, to Tekken, which have more iterations, and they've had more time to perfect it. And for a game that the last Guilty Gear was, what, like 8 years ago?
It was Exerd, because it was Guilty Gear, Exerd, Sign, I believe, and they had 2 iterations on it, which is Revelator V2.
And like that was what, almost 8 to 10 years ago, right?
Pretty much. It was on the PS3, so yeah, it was a while ago.
So you literally have not had the time to, work out the kinks. And you give us this perfection in a game,
well,
buy it.
Yeah, and the thing I'll touch on that very quickly is Daisuke Ishiwatari, who is the person who did all the art, who designed the game, who did the music, who was basically like the one-man band of Arc System Works for a long time.
We're a 3-man band!
And we're all the same person. But like he made games for SNK before he started off with making Guilty Gear. And Guilty Gear has been solid pretty much from the beginning. And then the only thing that they've done is kind of like polish it, make the music better, polish it, boom. And then they had a brief detour where they made like a Dynasty Warriors clone. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. But
I liked it.
It was actually fun. But that's one, if you don't buy any from the list, buy that one. It is so much fun. Yep. It's also couch co-op. You got your online competitive if you want to do that.
It's not couch co-op. It's more a counter-op because you're fighting each other.
Fair. Couch hatred op.
Local multiplayer. The word is local multiplayer.
Fair. It's that. But it's that's the one. If you don't listen to us on any of the other ones, that's one I'll even say pick that up.
You hate Mario, you hate Disgaea, you hate Far Cry, you hate Ubisoft, whatever. You hate Streets of Rage because you're a communist, a filthy communist. Pick up Guilty Gear.
Oh, man. Oh. And honestly, that perfect segue over to my last pick. So it is keeping in the vein of what I love. This one's actually probably, aside from Far Cry 6, the biggest AAA title out there that I can recommend.
Okay.
Tales of Arise.
Okay.
So Tales of Arise just launched here recently, a few months ago. Came out for the PS4 and the PS5. Came out on the Xbox as well, actually.
Hey.
So I know, right? Xbox is finally getting some JRPG love. About damn time.
Didn't Vesperia or whatever, didn't that one come out?
So that was actually originally on the 360 and then went the other way.
I remember there was some scuttlebutt because they when they ported it to the PS3, they just made it better and they made the 360 one worse. I'm just like, guys, this xenophobia is going to kill all of us eventually.
Tell us how you really feel, Microsoft, and your bastardized JRPGs.
Hey, they tried, man. They weren't down with Billy Gates' new toy, so whatever.
So it's kind of cool. I think like with the Series X, we'll definitely see a lot of JRPGs on it, which I think is good because everybody needs to experience perfect video games.
The world is only less when games aren't available on whatever console you prefer.
Exactly, and JRPGs are the best thing ever, so everybody needs to play them, bar none.
I don't agree, but what I will say is I think fanboyism as like a tribal thing needs to go away because I remember when
PC Master Race
that by itself, yes. But the thing I was going to say was Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, and a bunch of like Days Gone, I believe, are going to be PlayStation / Sony property games released on PC, and people got mad about that. Why?
So it used to be you bought your Xbox for online playability, right?
You bought your Xbox for, whatever reason you bought it for. Like you bought it for Halo, or you bought it for online play, or you bought it for whatever.
So online playability, some of their exclusives. You bought your PlayStation for more exclusives like personalized content, your Final Fantasies, your Horizon Zero Dawn, Bloodborne, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you experience a game. Like, if you play Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, knock yourself out. If that's what you game with, that's what you game with.
Mm-hmm.
I have no right to be a dick and be like, you're not playing the game in its purest form. Come on, you're trash.
Come on, game designers, get it together. No, even for real, like the thing that I've always liked multi-platform games. I've always liked franchises that do that kind of stuff. It used to be like, of course I want to buy Xbox for Halo, or for me when the Xbox came out and that was the one that got all the Sega games. I'm like, hell yeah, I want all the Sega games. But I don't know. I just don't get the sense of like, no, you don't deserve it. This is ours. The ownership.
Exactly. So like
entitlement.
Yeah, that is definitely true. But tailoring it back to Tales of Arise, it's the newest game in a very long and storied franchise. Mm-hmm. Revamped the combat system. It's a very smooth experience. It takes advantage of current gen technology to where you feel immersed in the world. Combat is amazing. The story is amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything because it literally just came out and I would be a dick if I did. If you want spoilers, go look on YouTube. You will not get them from me. Retro, well, that's been around for a while. Sorry, I will spoil that.
What's your excuse? You don't have one. Bye.
I stand by that. But honestly, pick it up. It is arguably in the top 3 best Tales of games out there, my opinion. Everybody has their different favorite in the genre, but I would put this in my top 3 Tales of games. It is immersive. It is a wonderful experience. It is something that everybody needs to play because the way the combat is in the game, it's an action RPG, but it gives you beat 'em up vibes for people that aren't big on RPGs.
It's an action combat. It's an action game.
And to meld a JRPG with that kind of fluid combat system, 10 out of 10. Pick this up. I think it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, going on sale at big retailers around Black Friday. So if you're looking for an excuse, there you go.
Yeah, dip the toe in. Get it done.
So that was my last pick. And I'm going to turn the floor over to John here for his last pick. And let's see if he can match my AAA goodness.
Well, okay, I'm in a bit of a spot because if this is going to be the last one.
Well, this is the last one in our recommendations. We didn't say anything about honorable mentions, which we have to have some honorable mentions.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better because this game that I was going to say hasn't come out yet, but I know I'm going to love the crap out of it. So what I'm going to do is instead talk about a game that I did play. I played it last year, played it to death. I love this company so much because they made the Infamous series, and before that they made Sly Cooper. Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghosts of fucking Tsushima.
I adored that game. And I was wavering on it when I first saw it announced because I was like, oh no, another game kind of like this. Because Sony has a very distinct feel.
His Dark Souls radar went tingle tingle, not getting this game.
It was kind of like that, but it was also very like, because Sekiro was announced around like not announced, but I think I got those kind of vibes from it immediately, and it felt so dissimilar to the kind of rampant, over the top, anarchic action of like a Sucker Punch game that I have known and loved. But holy crap, Ghost of Tsushima was great, and I loved exploring this completely gorgeous world, and I have no idea what kind of wizardry they did with all their technology to make it so there were like no loading screens at all. It was great, and the story was freaking great, and it was funny because when you had Nagoshi, the guy who was like, I think the COO of Sega, he played that and said, this is a game that we as Japanese developers should have made, and I'm like, damn, that's high praise.
Hey, John.
What?
Stand and fight.
Don't make me. I got my sword ready. I'm holding the triangle button. Tringle.
It's one of those games, so I challenged him to beat a AAA game. Well, he equaled it, and honestly, probably beat it, because Ghost of Tsushima came out originally on the PS4.
Beat it. I beat that game in that final decision.
No, I'm talking you beat Tales of Arise. You beat my challenge.
Oh, okay.
I guarantee you beat that damn game.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
Get out of my mind.
You trying to gamer card me, motherfucker?
But it honestly, for AAA titles recently, 10 out of 10. And as everyone knows, as you all know, with AAA titles, it's hit or miss. It's either, hey, this is copy paste, or it's, yeah, whatever. There's a lot of written off for AAA titles. They're going to get purchased. They're going to get played because it's your Madden, it's your 2K, it's your Call of Duty. But when a AAA title hits that vein of pure harmonic perfection, like Ghost of Tsushima did, combat, fluid and amazing. How you strengthen your character, amazing. The ability as somebody's running away to stand and fight.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious and perfect. Archery in the game, that was one of the coolest things ever. I can't heap enough praises on it.
And what's funny is that like I feel like a lot of the open world AAA type games get a lot of like, you know how Marvel movies get a lot of like shellacking because like it's just another Marvel movie, right? Because there's like a formula to it and it works, right?
You mean crack one-liners, some kind of corny-ish dad jokes, have a sad event happen and then a big fight and it's over? Yes, okay. Marvel movie.
Structure, that's one thing. But what I'm saying, yeah, exactly. So you can shellac and kind of like, throw shade on that kind of stuff. But when you find something that hits, like you said, it just works. It's like, yeah, I know why I like video games because they're this. You know what I'm saying?
And ladies and gentlemen, you can tell I like DC over Marvel. I said it. I will die on that hill. DC Animated Universe for life. James out.
Some of them. Anyway.
Animated movies.
I know, some of them.
Name a bad DC animated movie.
What's the one? Batman and Harley Quinn or whatever? The one where she...
That was Nightwing and Harley Quinn.
Nightwing and Harley Quinn. That one. That one's bad.
I mean, yeah, that's some suggestiveness in there.
There's a definitive scene as to why that's bad. Also, Killing Joke. Fuck that one. Anyway.
The Killing Joke was amazing.
Yeah, but it was a... No, it wasn't. It was good for its time, and even don't make me talk about comics.
Look, you mentioned two kind of ones. I'm surprised you just didn't go with Batman Ninja.
Why is that a bad one?
This is why his taste is bad.
What the fuck?
All right, we're moving away from the comics.
Look, you had Buster from Arrested Development as the Joker.
Okay, fair.
This is gonna get cut, I swear to God. Anyway.
No, this stays.
Okay, but anyway. The story, hit me. Like, watching alliances and all these, like, your friends betray you and like enemies becoming friends, stuff like that. The cons invading and seeing that arc there, and Gene's arc of like, being a kind of like a barking dog until he's like, ghost dog, way of the samurai, over the top ghost man, and seeing his falling out with his uncle and all sorts of just great shit. I don't know. I loved that game. It was beautiful to just like, if you want to spend time in the world, you've made a good game. Because even as far back as Mario 64, if walking around, running around, jumping didn't feel good, you didn't want to play the game. Games like that just hit. And Sucker Punch has never done me wrong. I've loved every Infamous game. I have loved Ghost of Tsushima. Sly Cooper was great. Like, they just make great games. They just do.
They don't disappoint. And that's another one. Keep an eye out. So all of the games we've mentioned here in John's 5 and my 5,
yeah,
they're more than likely going to be on some form of sale, or they're on sale online if you prefer digital versus physical. Doesn't matter either way. Get to play the game.
Yeah.
Get it. That one,
yeah,
you'll thank us later. You'll get sucked in. And even if you don't have the most current console in a Series X or a PS5, you can still enjoy it on the PS4.
Yeah, some of these games are on the Switch or on the previous gen console stuff, so you can get a hold of them pretty easy.
That was honestly our top 10. And it wouldn't be a top 10 without some honorable mentions, so I'm going to steal John's thunder. This actually came from John.
Uh-huh.
So, comes out next month, and I think everybody in the world is much excited for Halo Infinite.
Fuck yes. Even the man in the PlayStation shirt's like, Halo Infinite, shit, yeah.
He's commenting on me, folks, because I am wearing a PlayStation shirt. No fanboyism at all right here.
What do you think I was saying when I said that?
I'm letting the audience know.
Fine. I said whatever. I think that was implied. Anyway.
Rude. I am offended at your rude.
My monocle falls out into my mojito.
John threw a glove down and challenged me to a duel.
God.
But honestly, Halo Infinite. So the last couple Halo games have been very hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
If you like Halo, you played them no matter what because it's a franchise you enjoy. Mm-hmm. We will play games that aren't the best because we enjoy their franchise. That's what happened with Halo 4 and 5. Let's call it as it is.
Yeah, as someone who actually made it a point to marathon the franchise before Infinite came out, I played in chronological order. I played 1, 2, 3, ODST, 4, and I haven't played 5 yet because I just have been busy with other stuff. Far Cry 6. But like the whole thing that I noticed about what happened when 343 took over was they made the story about Chief and Cortana. That's not what Halo's about. Halo is basically the biggest, most operatic, everything is the end of the world as everything is falling apart around you. And 4 and 5 kind of went away from that and focused on Chief, which is, if you want to do that with your game, fine, but you really, really need to sell that. And they just didn't.
It's a game that if you have a friend that has an Xbox console, make sure you play it with them. If you have it, make sure you pick it up. From all the previews, all the trailers, all the snippets of reveals that we've seen, it looks like it's coming back to where Halo never should have left off.
Hell yeah.
And honestly, when it comes to local play, when it comes to online play, Halo games are insanely fun. There's nothing more satisfying than using a damn graviton hammer and just murder-lating someone and being like, I smash!
You memorialized them.
It's so much fun. I'm excited for it, and I don't even own a damn Microsoft console. I will literally be over at John's house. We will be playing that game till the cows come home, laughing, having a good time. You have to pick that game up. Please, if you listen to random people on the internet's advice, listen to ours, buy the game.
I was going to make a topical joke, but I will not do that, actually. But yes, so Halo Infinite, I'm excited for it. I've been excited for it ever since I got my Series X. Even before that, when I had my original Xbox One X, I adore Halo. Like, it's funny because it's also something that's hard to put into words, just how much or why. Because when you play them or like when you look back on them, you're like, what was it about that made that so engaging? It's like, oh yeah, the world, the fighting, and everything that made Halo combat evolved. Fuck yeah. So, solid honorable mention right there. I want to throw in just a quick honorable mention for mine as well, because this was on my original list, but as I thought about it more, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of not a throwaway game or a cheapy game. Mighty Goose.
It's when he says this, I chuckle. It's not a game you actively seek to go purchase. You see it, and it's like, hey, this looks interesting, and then you play it, and it has no right to be fun because it could be shovelware, but it's actually fun.
It's fucking brilliant, and I consider it the unofficial sequel of Untitled Goose Game. So imagine Metal Slug, but it's Metal Goose. There you go.
So
enough said.
We are going to take a quick break, folks. We're actually not done hitting you with the list. We gave you some current games, but we have to keep it with our roots, and we're actually going to hit you with some quick-fire retro games that you also need to play now.
Exactly.
So don't touch that dial.
Retro games coming at you. Stick around. Whatever the hell that was.
Welcome back from the interstitial music.
Interstitial.
I know. I failed. I failed hard. So
James, go home and tell your father you had to get fired from the podcast.
Daddy, no!
Did you get fired from John and James again?
You getting the paddle today, boy. Oh, no.
The funniest thing, not the funniest thing, the most horrifying thing is I'm pretty sure that that's true. Anyway, so we left you with some solid current generation video game recommendations. We wanted to hit you with some rapid fire retro games as well, because honestly, the holidays are coming up. Nothing like some comfort of some old games as well.
So we're going to hit these at you kind of lightning speed, and I'm going to start this one off with Final Fantasy V.
Of course you will.
I know, I've been stealing it, and I love this. I'm happy to be in your place.
You're not taking my place, you're just on the other side of the table.
That's fair. This is the side that goes first.
Yeah.
But so Final Fantasy V, it's been around forever and a day. We got to experience it for the first time on the PlayStation 1 here in America. Then it came out on Game Boy Advance. And now it actually came out recently on PC.
Remaster.
Yep, the Pixel Remaster, PC, and your cell phone. If you have the chance to play it, it's the game that made the job system super relevant. Great story. You have the 4 Crystals of Light and the 4 Crystals of Darkness. X-Death is the big baddie. All around really good game. My personal favorite mainline Final Fantasy game.
And that's saying something from how much you talk about 7.
Yeah, like I love 7. Don't get me wrong. 7 is real close. But Final Fantasy V, I am not ashamed to admit, I still have it for Game Boy Advance. I will load that up almost once a year, maybe every other year, and I will do a playthrough and I'll do brand new jobs just to see if I can get it done. Such a good game. Give that one a shot. It will scratch the retro itch and the turn-based itch. 10 out of 10. Get Final Fantasy V.
I like the way you actually qualified that, because the way it's like a ritual. Like every year you play through it. There are games like that are for me. And one of them is Jet Set Radio Future for the original Xbox. That game is dripping with style, and I adore it to this day. I played the original one on the Dreamcast when it first came out. I was obsessed with it, and when they announced the sequel coming to the Xbox, that was aside from Halo, that was the system seller for me. Massive open world graffiti, roller skating, punk, rock, craziness. I love it. Like, I can't sing the praises of it enough. I've said it like twice already. It just drips with style, and the music's tight, and you can do all sorts of crazy tricks. The story is over the top and completely insane, and the final boss in a Sega game is voiced by Charles Martinet.
I mean, you've arrived.
Yeah. When you can get Mario in your Sega game, you've done it.
We are picked up the franchise.
We are going to unleash a demon from an evil record player. Wahoo! Which is the actual plot of the game.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But yeah, I play that game like every year if I can manage it. I adore that game. Pick that up. It was like a pack-in game for Xbox actually for a while. So
it was. Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah,
Sega GT Online and that. So it's like the Mario Brothers Duck Hunt of Xbox.
Do 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 do. Xbox.
No power greater than X. Spray paint. Yeah, that's definitely one I'd recommend.
So another one that you can actually play on current consoles if you have Nintendo Online, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Link to the Past is so good.
So you had Zelda 1, you had Zelda 2, you had the bullshit Philips CDI Zelda games that do not ever get mentioned.
You mean the best ones?
I am now hiring for a podcast host.
I've been fired twice now.
Well, this time I'm actually going to poison him. He's drinking an energy drink as we speak, and I am literally just going to poison him.
Oh, it's Tropicool Thunder. Oh, okay.
But so Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, as you all know, it's been around since the Super Nintendo. It's so much fun. You have your main world, and then you have the dark world, and you're working to, obviously, kill Ganon, save the princess, Triforce. It's your typical Zelda game, but it was so polished, so well done. And at the time, it had taken everything that made Zelda good, enhanced it, even took stuff from Zelda 2, in a sense, with the magic meter, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
And perfected it. It's such a well done game, and it's not that long. You can beat the game in less than 20 hours if you understand Zelda mechanics.
Yeah.
It's really good, and honestly, like Nintendo Online, if you're not doing the new expansion for the 64 and Sega games, it's $20 for an entire year. You can play the game.
Yeah. And I get a shit ton of like other great games too. So
exactly. Like if you're missing out on some really good Super Nintendo or regular Nintendo games, give it a shot.
The original Legend of Zelda has a lot more nostalgia for me personally, but Link to the Past, I remember playing and just having a grand old time. Definitely a key recommendation for both of us. But I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, it's your pick.
All right, my pick, and I'm looking at the list like, how do I segue?
I don't know. Need an adult.
Yeah, actually froze up on the podcast. We're going to edit this out. No, but...
I'm leaving all this in at all times so you can hear him in his moment of weakness.
You are a sick person. No, but I think I'm just noticing in my back of my mind, I'm noticing how all of my recommendations are Xbox or Sega picks, and one of them is, both, which is funny. But the next game I want to recommend is Dead Rising. Dead Rising came out as like a launch title for the 360. I adore that game. It was truly a game that felt like it delivered on the next-gen promise. Look at how many zombies are on screen. You can use anything as a weapon. You can go anywhere in the open world and find crazy stuff to do. And the actual game itself is fucking phenomenal. You start off as some wimpy, Frank West-looking, hobbling photojournalist boy, and then by the end of it, you're freaking, suplexing and jumping off walls and, like, cartwheel kicking zombies' heads off and stuff, freaking swinging chainsaws around and cutting people down. You can unlock the Mega Buster from Mega Man. It's the best weapon in the freaking game. It's so over the top and so great, and I just adore it to this day.
It's one of the few games that was super hyped and actually delivered. And when it came to like the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, you had a lot of games that overpromised and underdelivered. So it was very, very rewardingly fresh to get a game that delivered on its promise. Mm-hmm. It's not expensive. You can still pick it up. Is it on Game Pass? I don't know.
It's not on Game Pass, but it has been re-released on PS4 and Xbox One. So you can pick it up that way.
Done. There you go. And then honestly, keeping with our rapid fireness, so a game near and dear to my heart, the entire series. There's 7 total games in this series, but I'm focusing on the second part, Dot Hack GU.
Holy crap, Dot Hack GU.
So it's technically one video game just broken up into 3 parts when you think about it. It was so much fun. And it was at the time when RPGs were kind of going through this pseudo MMO phase because World of Warcraft was super big. Remember Final Fantasy 12? It was basically MMO combat.
Yeah.
And
Final Fantasy 11? It was just an MMO anyway.
Hey-oh. And you were immersed in the world. And you're playing as Haseo. And you're actually, like, one of the main villains in the game is actually the original protagonist from the first series.
And he's got his flunkies with him, too.
Like, great cast of characters. Story was good. It was random. It was your typical JRPG-ness. The main character was an angsty butthole at first and then actually developed into a good character.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the melodrama is real in that game.
It was so much fun. And when you start it, you're not going to put it down until you've completed the third and final game, and it's just like, wow, this was good.
Yeah.
I feel invested, and because of how they did it, you literally felt as if it was you, because you had to log out of the game, go check your real world emails, and then you come back in with these hints and clues from developers and secret affiliates.
And Online Jack, my favorite web show. That game delivered on its premise really, really well, and I adored it. Like, I played the first .hack series, like the Outbreak, Quarantine, Mutation, all that kind of stuff, and I didn't really feel as involved with it as I did. When I played GU, it felt like it really delivered on what it was supposed to be, because all of the characters felt like the kind of people you would meet if you played an MMO, and that's what made it, kind of sold it to me. And seeing Haseo's transformation, which was really cool. And of course, we have Pi.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to play that one, it actually was remastered for the PlayStation 4, and
it's on Steam as well.
Steam, and they gave you additional content. Remember on the PlayStation 4 one, you had the final chapter.
Yep.
It was like, it is a very rewarding game, very rewarding story. You can pick it up on PlayStation 4, Steam for $20.
Yeah. Do
yourselves a favor, give that one a shot.
Yeah, if you want something really to chew on over the holidays, like that'll keep you busy.
Exactly.
Also, Mecha Grunty. Mecha Grunty.
Mecha Grunty.
And so, that's 3 from you, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I need to learn how to count. All right, so my third and final recommendation is going to go classic. Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Put that lock on. Bam.
Sonic Heroes.
You know, every Sonic game has that theme song. I'm glad you found it out.
Exactly. No. Like, it's going to be my ringtone just for him. Anytime we're hanging out, I'm going to purposely find a way to call myself to where Sonic Heroes just plays forever for him.
And then I'll have my ringtone be the unfinished version of the song where it's just the main singer just scatting the lyrics, where he's like, might crash without a sound. That shit is hilarious. No. If you actually watch that, it's the video of like the storyboards of that. It's hilarious. Anyway, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the definitive Genesis experience of Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is coming from someone who played 1, 2, 3, and CD and Knuckles and all of those together. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the shit. It's the perfect form of everything Sonic on the Sega Genesis. You get the Chaos Emeralds. You get the Super Emeralds. You get 15 whole levels and a final chapter that's unlocked when you get all the Super Emeralds together, where you save the Master Emerald and save the floating island, and Knuckles is there and it's fucking awesome. Even Tails, who didn't get a super transformation in any of the previous games, got one because of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I played this game to death when I was a kid, and I still love it.
It is probably the best way to experience the Sonic franchise.
Probably.
So I'm trying to be polite here. It is definitively fine. It is definitively the best way to experience the Sonic franchise. Get it.
There we go.
You will you will thank us later. If you have not played Sonic, one, we're kind of concerned for your health because you probably lived under a rock.
Yeah.
And
or you're a Nintendo kid or only just played JRPGs.
I'm a Mario.
Or only played JRPGs. I wonder who I'm talking about.
You know what?
What?
Sonic Heroes. So, honestly, that's the best Sonic game you could ever play. Pick that one up. If you aren't a fan of seeking the retro consoles, it was actually on the Sega Genesis Classic, wasn't it? Like the whole Sonic suite was, correct?
I believe so, yes.
So you can go out, you can get the Sega Genesis Classic, and you can experience a lot of really good Sega games on brand new.
There are so many ways to play all those Genesis games.
Well, yes.
Not only can you play it on an actual proper console, but like there's Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, the Ultimate Genesis Collection on PS2 and like Xbox and GameCube.
Oh, don't forget the PS4 one, the Sega Classics, remember?
Sega Classics, which is on PC, it's on the Switch, and now they have the Genesis games on the Nintendo Switch Online. They have re-released the crap out of those games. You can get them anywhere. You can get them on a PSP if you want.
Very true. So
No
Honestly,
excuses, motherfucker.
play Sonic or die.
Exactly. Don't come back to the podcast until you say you played those games.
So that's been a list for you guys. We want to help you out for the holidays with some retro goodness as well as some current gen stuff. If you haven't had the opportunity to pick it up, you wanted a little insight into the games, like we wanted to give that to you.
You're walking around Walmart, Target, Vons, whatever. You see video games on the shelf.
Vons. What?
You're walking around Clover. You're walking around the Gap in the 70s. No.
Oh, no. Gucci. Remember, they just released a limited Series X console, the Gucci console.
You're walking around Kroger, Fred Meyer's. You're walking around.
I need some donuts and a side of PlayStation, please.
You're walking around in abandoned Sears. I don't know why you're inside there, but either some video games on the shelf still. Who knows?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, go find these games and they're a blast. Have fun.
But yeah, so thank you guys for listening to episode 6. As always, you can find us on Instagram at Games with John and James. We're on Facebook the same way. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Please listen.
You have no excuse not to listen to us.
Exactly. We are
Bring money.
the champions, my friend.
We are the bring money champions. But I think that's a good way to wrap it up. This has been John.
And I'm James.
And this was Games with John and James.
Comment and let us know how you feel. See ya.
Peace out. Snooch to the nooch.